We're located just about 3 minutes outside Collingwood at the base of the Blue Mountains. We have a 1-acre property here, and the proximity of the property is nice because we're about 2 minutes to water, 2 minutes to town, and 2 minutes to ski hill. So that was one of the things about the property that was really attractive to us. So we bought the property in 2019 without any anticipation of building on it. It was going to be sort of our retirement play. But then when we had an opportunity to move up here and build a home of our dreams, we took that opportunity and jumped 2 feet in. When we first purchased the property and we had David up for our initial site visit, David was really good at positioning the house. We face southwest, so we have unobstructed sun all day long.
It was one of the most unique spaces that I had been to in years. The way it was situated was lower than all the homes around it, and plus the views of the escarpment. So we really had to maximize the way it sat on the property to capture the views of the surrounding area. So it's a very traditional but very non-traditional house in that sense. Because of the nature of the property, we had to design this in pavilion-like structures. They're very simple geometric shapes that were positioned in a way that they could all interact with each other. The materials early on, we felt that due to the nature of where we are in Collingwood, that we really wanted to have that dark siding to complement a lot of the green and a lot of the trees that are around during half the year, and also to contrast against the snow that's here for the other half of the year. So the dark timber cladding, the dark roof, and then accenting it with the beautiful stone. There's privacy walls at the front entrance and at the side to provide that relief from neighboring, and also to anchor the space and for the materials to play off each other.
David and his team were incredible. This was the largest scale build we had done, and having his team to support us through all the questions we had, we could pick up the phone and call Carrothers and they would answer right away and give us the solutions to the issues we had.
The concept behind the house was to capture the spirit of Collingwood. You know, its adventurousness, the skiing and the biking, and the family who's fully involved in all of these aspects of this is why they live here. So we wanted to design a home that would complement where they are in Ontario and also who they are as well.
We obviously like Scandinavian designs. You can see we like a house that's designed for entertaining. We're big entertainers. We have people over all the time. When we worked with David, that was one of our first things we said, and we said we want a house that's got some grandeur to it and some beautiful design, but it has to be using all the space because it's expensive to build a high quality home, so we wanted to make sure that every square inch of the house was used. I was the builder on the home. I was the GC and physically built a lot of the home myself, so I'm very meticulous with details in the home, so it was really important to utilize materials that had a long lifetime, good durability, wouldn't fade in the sun. Well, we come into the mudroom, and ironically, all of our guests come into the mudroom as well. And that's why we use products like we did a polished concrete floor down there, so people could come in the wintertime with their ski boots on, or their winter boots, or their hiking boots in the fall. It's just a great room. Lots of storage in there. Kids can come in, hang up their coats, and leave their mess, because that's the last thing you want is tripping over wet shoes in the wintertime. Again, we entertain a lot, and it wouldn't be uncommon for us to have 30, 40 people in our living room with kids running around. So we wanted to have big open space and also have furniture that was usable that kids could sit on, and we wouldn't have a meltdown. But then again, we worked also very closely with our interior stylist and decorator, Suze from Suze Interiors, and she just tied everything together, because between David and Suze, it was important we had a seamless product that looked like one person came up with the entire idea themselves. It's propane. That's one of the unfortunate things. We live a little bit rural here in Collingwood, so the house is all hydronics, in-floor heating. There is an electric forced air furnace, and then that is a propane fireplace. It's a 72-inch fireplace, so it heats the room quickly. It's a granite material, and that matte finish really tied it all together. We like the contrast with the black and white, you know, again, with the browns and blacks in the house, those contrasted soft colors that also are part of the natural landscape here. My family comes from a lineage of kitchen manufacturers. My grandfather had a kitchen manufacturing company in Germany, and then my uncle brought it to Canada. And so my aunt helped design the kitchen, pick the colors with my wife, and the kitchen's our favorite spot in the house. People always surround the island, and we have a little bar in the back you'll see as well. And we like that about the home, that the kitchen is, again, practical and usable. My wife wanted to have these cupboards go to the ceiling. She's like, it wouldn't look good to have the kitchen stop here and have a white bulkhead. That wouldn't make sense. And she was right. It had to look like this kind of full built-in kitchen area. There's nothing in any of these cupboards, but they all open up. And you know what? I store up there? I store all the outdoor cushions up there in the summer, in the wintertime. It just worked out. They're the perfect size and they're out of the way. So there's a place for everything in this house, which is nice. That started off as a butler's pantry and then eventually became my bourbon collection. That grew as the house grew. Because we have people over so often, we like to have a little bourbon tasting once in a while or tequila tasting. And as well, when we do larger groups, we turn that into a bit of a butler's pantry so we can have food prep over there. If we hire a bartender, they can hide out in the back and serve drinks. Because of course we don't have a basement in the home, we turn that in the kids' playroom. So that is their entire playroom. They have their Nerf guns in there. My daughter has her Barbie collection in there. They watch movies, play video games in there. That has been their dedicated space. And half the time it doesn't look quite this pretty as it does right now, but it's their space, and I think that they like that they have their own room and they can close the doors. The entire house is insulated against sound, so it's quite quiet in the home. The principal bedroom is our a little bit of escape and oasis. Simple again in that room too, but we have a massive window in that room, so when we wake up in the morning, we have the power shades that go up in the ceiling, and then we have an unobstructed view of the Blue Mountains, so we can sit in bed, watch the sun go down in the evening. You can see the beautiful fall colors in the fall. When we wake up on a Saturday morning, you can see the skiers racing down the hill in the wintertime. So the view is what we wanted up here for sure. In the principal bathroom, we call it the wet room. We used transom style windows so that we could have an unobstructed view of the sky. So many people have windows in their bathrooms but they have blinds drawn all the time. So it didn't make a whole lot of sense that you have these windows, but then you close off the view. So it's nice in the morning, you'll be taking a shower and then you look up and you see the blue skies, you see the clouds coming in and the sun shines in. So that was kind of the idea of keeping the windows open and unobstructed so we could see the view of the blue skies up here. The feature in my son's room is of course the chairlift, because we live in Collingwood and we love the snow capture, and that's a very common scene here where you'd be skiing down the hill and you could barely see the chairlift because of the snow coming in. And then my daughter's room, which is pink, and there's a cactus there, and the reason was we chose to have Sawyer when we were visiting Arizona. We were sitting in a hot tub and saw a cactus and said, let's have another one, and that's the story behind the cactus picture. We wanted big open windows, huge, floor to ceiling glass, what we wanted. This is basically a 20-foot slider, so we can open it up and have 10 feet of open space, so we can just pour in and out of the house. Again, because we do so much entertaining, it's not uncommon for us to have all the doors, windows open in the house. We created this beautiful covered porch area here so we can sit in the shade in the middle of the day and not get roasted by the sun. But then again, if you want sun, then there's a beautiful cedar deck that you can sit and lounge on. And then in the evenings, there's a really nice side porch here as well, which has beautiful fir beams, so you get a vaulted ceiling and that cozy cottage feel. And then the landscaping pouring out the fire pit. Again, it's about having different areas to enjoy the space, whether it be in the sun or whether it be in the shade or whether it be in the evening or whether it be in the rain. It's a very multi-usable property. When we were building the house, I was actually driving the countryside and saw these two chairlifts sitting on the side of the road with a for sale sign on it, and they're actually chairlifts from Beaver Valley Ski Club from the 1950s. So I picked one up, had it powder coated at a local paint shop, and it's now hanging in our front entrance. I like the idea of a courtyard in a home where you walk in, it feels cozy in there. We're pickleball players, so we had a pickleball court painted on the asphalt in, and the kids can play inside the courtyard as well, ride their bikes and their scooters around. And we can sit on the front porch and have a glass of wine and watch them play, as well as it's a bit of a grand stadium for when we have pickleball tournaments here. The Outbuilding was kind of my little treat to myself, let's call it that. I wanted sort of a Chicago feeling bar out there, but it's our après. So often when we come back from skiing, we'll invite some people over, and then we're separated from the main building so we can be a little bit louder out there, have the music turned up a bit and get a little bit rowdier. It's a beautiful space that we can also go to. It's where my wife and I watch Formula One on the weekends. One of the favorite things we have in the house is that we don't have a basement. I find basements to be quite dark and cool. So having everything above grade allows you to be in nature and see the views. So we gave the kids their space, we have our space, we got the best of both worlds. We got what we wanted. My wife and I often sit down and discuss what could we change, what we've done better, but there's nothing in this house that we would have done differently. It was exactly the design, and if you look at the renderings that David provided us and the end product, it's almost exact, which is so great, because that's a challenge. You build a house, you come up with a concept, everyone thinks, if I had all the money in the world, this is the house I'd build, and then you sit down and you put ink to paper. It's actually a really challenging process to go through and realize what the layout is. You rely a lot on someone who has an expertise on layout, where things go, how much room you need for a bedroom, how much you need for a living room, how much space between cabinets and a kitchen. These are all really strong considerations when you build a house.